Hello and welcome to our show. I'm your host, Jann. It's summertime, and that's a great time for flying paper airplanes. But have you ever made a helicopter? This is made from a paper cup. It can be a small one or a large one. I'll show you how to do it. It can be patriotic. You can decorate your plane if you want, your helicopter. It can be one color. This is made with a permanent marker or paint. The little ones, if you want a rainbow, paint is probably a little bit easier. Or you can just do, I find stripes especially appealing because they sort of make a circle when you fly them. So this is what you need. To make it, you need a paper cup. It can be little or small, as I said. And you need paint or something to decorate it if you like, if you wish. We're going to cut this paper cup into strips. The first thing I want to do, though, is to mark about 1 inch. So this is a do not cut beyond this line. A little bit of a border at the base will help give it some weight, which will help it to fly. Okay, to cut this into eighths, the first step is to obviously make one mark and then try and make the other mark right across from it and then do a mark in the center of those, and that's for 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a mark in between those. These are where to cut. And they don't have to be absolutely perfect. These are guides for cutting. Okay, I'll just cut one of them. I'll place it right at the marker and then not go beyond that little rough line. Keep going around. Just cut straight down. As I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Fun to have a helicopter. You can add to your repertoire. Okay, a few more. Big scissors are also helpful. And if you want an adult to do this, that also might be helpful for you. Okay, one more to go. Okay, a little hard to see, but they're there. Okay, one at a time, fold it down and fold it at an angle. This is what helps the air lift the blades of the helicopter. So you're folding them down at an angle. That one could be a little bit better, a little bit more of an angle. Fold it at an angle. Just a few more to do. And see, this one's thicker than that one. It's okay. This one's thinner. Now that gives you an idea how to fold it. From the side, if you can see that, front on, side. See how they're folded. If you've ever seen a ceiling fan, they're going to be slanted a bit at an angle. Now you can fly your helicopter just like this. And if you want, you can trim the ends, but you don't have to. So I think I will. Just trim these ends. You can do something pointed. You can do, just gives it a little style. It does not help the aerodynamics, from what I can gather. It can be a point. Okay, just 2 more to do. So there, I can see that one's not very smooth. That's the idea. Now take any color. I think I'll take blue. And then just make a design any way you like. I think this time I'm going to do straight lines like this. But you get the idea. And those look pretty terrible. So I think I'm going to abandon that, and I will do that at home. But you can do something like this. You know, I was just very careful. I think it's easier to make the stripes go this way than to go down. Or simple to paint one whole blade, one color. And I didn't trim those edges at all. So you have lots of options. This one I did curve the ends, and you can see when it spins, it sort of makes a circle. So there is your summer helicopter. I hope you enjoy making one, testing it, see how it flies. It'll be amusing to see. Thank you for joining us, and happy summer. Hope to see you next time. We'll have a totally different craft. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome to our show. I'm your host, Jann. September is apple picking season. What a treat to pick an apple off the tree and eat it immediately. They are delicious. They're also attractive. I've seen many paintings of apples, and they come in various colors. And I thought it might be fun to make our own rustic apples out of paper mache. These will last a very long time. Paper mache is a French technique using paper, basically, and glue. That's it, to make endless shapes. It's amazing art on the cheap, and I'll show you how to do it. I'll just put these aside for a second. We start with a sheet of newspaper. Now, newspaper comes in different sizes. It can be one large one or a couple of smaller ones. What I'm going to do is scrunch it together. So there's going to be a lot of noise. Trying to make it into a ball and just keep squeezing it, squeezing it. This is going to be the base for your apple. Now, a technique that I like to do, but you don't have to, it's really optional, is I like to wet my hands and sort of press this ball because it sort of keeps these ends from flying away, but then I let it dry before I do anything else. So that's just one idea. You just keep pressing it. When it can press it into a ball. And that's kind of, see how it tends to open. Another idea is to take tape and sort of tape it into a ball. So this can be masking tape or any kind of tape. And that's pretty much a shape the size of an apple. So I'll just set this aside and set up. Remember to protect your work surface. It's going to be glue and water. You want to make a glue mixture. This is half water, half white glue. Now here's something I did that I do not recommend. I love the idea of the lid, that's great, but what I did was shake it because I thought it would be a really good way to mix the two together. Well, it did mix it together, but what it did at night was glue the top on. And then I really had to work to get the top off. So what I recommend is just stirring it. And then you can always keep the lid on if you do this in sections, and it will work fine. Now, a nice second layer is either strips of newspaper to kind of round out the shape, or it can be paper towels. And you can tear them into strips. You can cut them also, but tearing them makes these strips sort of meld into the shape. And here's how I do it. I cut some of them, but I taught myself this technique. Press something like a ruler. I don't know if you can see this. A ruler over the paper towel. And the strips are about 1 inch wide. This is folded in half. And it makes nice, soft, ragged edges that when you glue it on, they will just hold the shape and sort of disappear when you glue them. It's not hard to do. You can also do that with the tissue paper I'll be showing you later. So we've got those strips. And I'll just take one right now, open it and use it. And you want to glue a bit of the area that you're going to put the paper mache, the strip on. Just put a little bit of glue. And then you can pick that up and glue it. And go over it with a brush and go over the edges because you want to have it attached, but you don't want to soak it because it'll take forever to dry. So just enough to attach this to this shape, and you see it will sort of smooth out the edges. I'll do just a little bit more. And they overlap. I like to do a section at a time, but I do know of people who like to do it all at once and then let it dry. So you had choices, whichever one you like. I like to do a section at a time and then let it dry, because I think it dries better that way. So do the whole apple, and then it looks something like this. Very rustic. I'm going to set this aside right now. And the next step to color it, there's two things you can do. You can paint it. Now this is an orange, and you're wondering, what is an orange doing? Well, this one was so round, it looked like an orange. So I painted it orange. So you can paint the apples or oranges, or you can use strips of tissue paper glued on. Because apples, when you look at them closely, they have sort of stripes, very subtle stripes. So that's a pretty good idea. That's worked for me. And I like to mix red and pink together. You may do something different. So just like we did the paper towel strips, you want to put just enough glue on to sort of hold the strip. And sometimes they lift up with a brush and sometimes they don't. So place the strip where you want it and just put enough glue on so it adheres. We use the paper strips underneath to smooth out the shape, and also white is a wonderful basis for color. It makes it very bright. And I have found that strips that aren't too wide are easier to work with. Now I think I'll do a pink strip. And that's just for fun. I know a lot of apples, do they really have pink? But I think it's a fun color combination. And you can put a red strip over it too. So I like to do about a third or a half of an apple, and then let that dry and then go back to it. It can be hours later, it can be the next day, but whatever you like. So that is the start. So after you have put all the strips on, and you can do as many layers as you like to get the color you want. You want to, I think a stem just makes it look more like an apple. So you want to punch a hole in here, in the apple, either with, like the tip of sharp scissors or an ice pick or something like that, and then cut off a little bit of a branch. That really looks like a stem, and it's fun. And all the stems are a little bit different. And just poke the stem into that hole. Now I cut a leaf out of paper. I had crepe paper on hand, so I used crepe paper, but use whatever paper you like if you want to add a leaf. I think it's a nice finishing touch. There you have, no two apples are alike. So happy autumn, happy apple season. I hope you enjoy making your own very rustic paper mache apples that will last a long, long time. You can put them in a bowl or on a plate. It'd be a nice centerpiece. Just fun art. Thank you for joining us. I hope you join us for the next show. We'll have a very different craft. So, bye-bye. Hello and welcome to our show. I'm your host, Jann. Autumn is an especially beautiful time in Vermont, as we know. Taking a walk outside, looking for colorful leaves in fascinating shapes and sizes is an incredibly enjoyable thing to do. The question is, what do we do with the leaves once we have them at home? So I have some ideas for you. This is what I do. I take a very old phone book, because those pages are very absorbent, and I place one leaf in between a couple of pages, very gently, and then carefully lift it up and place another leaf. And then once I have all the leaves in there, I put a heavy book on top. And I let it stay that way for a few days, up maybe even a week, and then gently pull them out. And then I store them one layer at a time, something like this. I've kept this for a couple of years and it works wonderfully. The colors do fade a little bit, so the colors become more antique. But you just do see the integrity of the leaf. These are a couple years old. And you can see the veins and everything else. Look at how different the shapes are. So to make a Suncatcher, this is the leaf today, the leaf project. These are made put between 2 sheets of wax paper and then pressed together to melt them with an iron. And I'll tell you how to do it. And then you can tape this to a window and the sun will come through. And you'll see all the colors and all the details very vividly. I love it. It's inexpensive. It uses materials that you have at home. You will need an adult with an iron. I am an adult, but I don't have an iron right now. So I can't show it to you, but I can tell you about it. The first step is to take 2 sheets of wax paper. Now they will undoubtedly be 2 different sizes. This is what I just did. One's bigger than the other. Take the smaller one, and then take the leaves that you want to make to make your Suncatcher with. I often start with a large leaf, but you might want to do something different. And I do make sure there's a border of wax paper all the way around, because that helps seal them in. Now I'm looking for different shapes and sizes and colors. And I do love little leaves too. Very little leaves sort of fill the space very nicely. So I kind of like that. This is kind of funny too. That's a little bit too big. So I'll just keep these. Maybe put them together a little bit. Now you can do something random, which is what I've done here. Ooh, I like that one a lot. Does it quite fit? Or does it fit? Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. And put them either all face down or face up. Now I like to have space between them so that the wax paper can melt in between. The next step is to place the larger piece on top, like that. And then the adult puts probably a thin cloth on top. Some people don't, some people do. I put a thin, clean dish towel on top. Now this should be a surface that you can iron on, like an ironing board, maybe with a thin cloth underneath. And then I just put this over on top. And I can feel where the edges are. You can also sort of peek. And then I set the iron on medium. Now all irons are different. Medium might be too hot or too cool for your particular iron. So you have to just do a little corner and then lift this up and then just check it to see, did it bond? Did it melt? And increase the heat as you need to, just a little bit at a time. And then once it's ironed, you take the top off, and with a little bit of luck, you have the Suncatcher to tape to the window. So I hope you enjoy making your own Suncatcher. Thank you for watching. I'll hold this up again. Thank you for watching. You can make a very little one or a big one. Anyway, hope to see you at the next show. The craft will be totally different. Thank you and bye-bye.